I'm Steve Dangle, and you're listening to Stick to the Pod.
Hello and welcome back everyone to another episode of Stick to the Pod. Yes, that's right, episode 19 coming up right away. So first of all, I just want to thank you all again. Your emails, your private messages do mean a lot. The stuff that you're asking for, I will try and do the best I can. The messages of support have been great. The messages of where I might be able to improve, little bits I can tinker with, I'll certainly give them a go. Probably play around with more of the major stuff in the summertime when I'm not putting out as much, because it certainly won't be once a week in the summer. Be lucky if it's once a month, but then you never know the way ice hockey in the UK goes. There could be a major story every 5 minutes. And we always know we get that major UK ice hockey saga, which we can only wait and find out what will be this year. So yeah, that's the thank yous out of the way. Like I say, if you do want to get in touch, the email address is sticktothepod@gmail.com, or you can get in touch on X, also known as Twitter, at Stick to the Pod, and on the Facebook page as well, also at Stick to the Pod. And you can also leave comments on the YouTube channel. So yeah, and if you could like and subscribe to that would be great. I am again thinking of lots of ways of trying to bring you some extra content on YouTube, so keep an eye out for that. There could be one or two little videos over the next couple of months coming up with all the hockey that's coming up. Cup finals, league championships, playoffs, nationals. So let's just see, might just be able to bring some little video content to do with those. It all just depends on the equipment and my, or I should say the other half's editing abilities, because editing a podcast is one thing, doing videos is a complete other. Anyway, what a fantastic weekend of hockey we have had in NIHL North 1 and 2. Both divisions are heating up now. We're getting to the business end of the season. Start to see that in the scorelines as well. A lot closer, especially in a couple of results this weekend. Teams trying to work out where they would like to finish in the league to try and preempt who they might play. We'll get onto that a bit later on. The current playoff tree, I should say, and who will play who. That certainly makes for good reading, especially in Division 1. So with that, let's just get straight into the weekend's action. Just the one game on Saturday, and it was a full strength Whitley Warriors. The old guard are back together. Phil Edgar, Dean Holland, Andrew Wood, Jordan Barnes, all back in the roster, all there to, well, win the playoffs, really. Why else would you bring all those guys back? You bring those guys back because you think, well, you know what, we're going to have a good run at the playoffs. Ain't done much in the cup. Not as been as good as we should have been in the league. Probably letting all these guys go at once was probably not the best idea. I know it's a bit out of your hands when some say they're going to retire. The recruitment hasn't been great, but it is what it is with the Warriors. They went with the players that they had. They put younger players in key roles, and that will set them back a little bit. Obviously, Edgar and Holland come straight back. They're going straight into that top line. Not sure who they'll play with that top line. I'll have to probably check in with one or two people, see how that filters out for the rest of the season. So anyway, the Whitley Warriors, back at full strength, were at Ice Sheffield on Saturday and routed the Scimitars 10-2. Two goal scorers for the Scimitars being Rogers and Wickens. The goal scorers for the Sheffield Scimitars. And for the Warriors, 10 goals. It was an Edgar hat-trick, a Holland hat-trick, Harley, Ross getting 2, and Queenan. So like you say, Edgar and Holland straight back into the thick of it. Hat-trick for the pair of them. And it'll probably be a good little, 8 to 9 games for the guys to get their legs back underneath them and be fresh for the playoffs. So they have a huge advantage come playoff time. Yet granted, you're going to have still very good teams there. But if these guys can get firing on all cylinders in the next, like I say, 8 to 9 games, they're going to be a real threat come playoff time. And probably, other than the Stars, the team to avoid in the playoffs. So this is where you might get teams, I'm not going to dare lose games deliberately, but if they lose a game or two, wouldn't be that bothered if they can avoid the Warriors in the playoffs. And what it does do, you might just set up a fantastic potential final of the Warriors versus the Stars, which would be a fantastic final to end the season. So we jump into Sunday. And we'll just run through Sunday's fixtures because everyone was playing except the Hull Jets this weekend. They've had a bit of a rough couple of weeks, so they've had a week off. Fortunate for them. So Sunday's fixtures were D-side versus the Stars, the Lions and the Hawks, and it was a Widnes Wild and the Sheffield Scimitars. And we'll just jump straight into the Barons versus the Warriors. Yeah, so Solihull Barons versus the Whitley Warriors at Hobbs Moat Road. After the night before, you're probably thinking the Warriors might have a chance here. Probably just a bit too soon for the old guard coming back. And the Barons run out 4-1 winners. Race, Crow, Sorden and an empty net goal from White. And of course, Phil Edgar scoring for the Whitley Warriors. So a 4-1 win for the Barons keeps them in contention. Well, keeps them still going. I can't say they're in contention for I think the league title's gone now. As a Stars fan, I don't want to sound arrogant but just with 6 points, the game's in hand. I believe the Stars only need 2 wins, definitely 3 wins to wrap up the league title. So I think it's fair to say that probably the league title is probably done now. Obviously, Stars going to Barons next Sunday is a must win for Barons no matter what. And it still probably isn't enough. Anyway, more about that later on. Next fixture, we'll jump into the Widnes Wild and the Sheffield Scimitars. So after the stuffing they got on the Saturday afternoon against the Warriors, they go to Planet Ice Widnes and go to overtime with the ever-improving Widnes Wild. To be fair, before the weekend I did expect a closer game with Sheffield and Widnes, but after the rout on Saturday, I just thought this game could also be a bit too much for the Scimitars. But no, into overtime they went. Scimitars goal scorers being Fraley 2, Nixon 2, Rogers and Heinzel. Been very impressed with that Heinzel this year. It's been a very good pickup for the Scimitars. A very talented player. At Widnes, Barlow's getting a hat-trick. The ever impressive youngster Carl Carruth getting 2 goals. Hopkins and Williamson getting the overtime goal. I believe Barlow also got 2 or 3 assists that game as well. So a good night for Barlow on the scoreboard. So yeah, Widnes picking up the extra point, and obviously the Scimitars getting the overtime point. So that probably all does but cement Widnes Wild in 7th position. Once we get into the league table later on, we can have a look at the situations there. I can't see it being much more than a foregone conclusion really that Widnes Wild will finish 7th. We'll be taking on 2nd place at the moment, which is Solihull Barons. Again, something we'll touch on a bit later on. The next game was D-side Dragons. They had a bit of a few losing games. They were at on home ice against the Billingham Stars. The Stars, a workmanlike effort, pulling out a 5-2 victory against the Dragons. Obviously, I was at this game, so I can go into a bit more detail. Obviously, much tougher than the previous games against the Dragons. I think Stars played the Dragons 2nd or 3rd weekend of the season. Haven't played them since. So obviously, a much stronger Dragons side. I think they were only missing McKinney back then, and maybe Volusiak, can't remember that far back. Opening the 2nd weekend of the season. Doesn't that seem like a long time ago now? Much better performance from the Dragons. I think they put too much into the first period. I think they tried to jump on the Stars, knowing that they might be a little bit leggy coming off the bus. They put a very big effort and a very big push in the first period to only be a 1-0 up from a McKinney power play goal, which probably, I don't want to be too critical of Tom Brown because he's been magnificent this season, would probably wanted that one back. Anyway, as it was 1-0 at the end of the first period. Second period, Stars do some great work. They get themselves back into the game. It was Grithan's scoring to get us back into the game. I can't remember now, sorry. But yeah, the Stars get themselves back into the game to then just to get lazy towards the end of the second period. It was a much more controlled and a much more dominant period from the Stars. Like I said, the D-side Dragons put a lot of effort into that first period. You could see at the end of the first, a lot of them were huffing and puffing, and you could see a lot of tired faces already. Coming in the second period, the Stars didn't really step it up much, but didn't have to. They controlled large periods of the game. The shots were about 3-1 in the second period as well, if not a little bit greater. Probably didn't get the rewards they deserved, the Stars. Matt Crowell played fantastic. robbed of his man of the match. He was unbelievable all night long. I believe it was only his second, maybe his third game back from a decent injury layoff. So yeah, just a magnificent netminder performance from Matt Croyle, so fair play to him. But the Dragons actually nicked it at the end of the second period, a bit lazy from the Stars. Thought they would just take it into the second period 1-1, but no, they find themselves 2-1 down going into the third period, and it was just a Stars masterclass from the first drop of the puck in the third all the way through, dominating play, dominating the puck. Matt Croyle must have been knackered come the end of that third period, because it was just a wave after a wave after a wave of attack from the Stars. And to be fair, the Stars didn't really get their rewards until the last 6 minutes of the period. They get it back to 2-2. Lewis Hall scores a great goal to make it 3-2, which also took a lot of stuffing out of the Dragons. I think when they went behind, I think that they probably just thought they were beaten, and that's what the good teams can do to teams, especially down in the mid to lower end of the table. Some teams already feel as though they're beaten, but when they go behind to these better teams, it zaps a bit of life out of them, and they think that's it, the game's done. We're never going to get back into this game, say, or take the lead back. And the Stars just took it away from them, like I said, last 4 or 5 minutes, scoring another 2 goals. So the scorers for the night was McKinney and Parsons for the Dragons. And your usual suspects on the score sheet, I'm going to say, for the Stars, Grittens with another 2. We're looking at the points actually tonight, just see who's doing what. Grittens with 2. Defenseman James Helen with a big bomb from the blue line, also on the score sheet. Fourth liner normally. He stepped up on the third line due to injury. Fourth liner Lewis Hall with a magnificent goal, spinorama, backhand through the netminder's legs. Like I say, zapped the life out of the Dragons from that moment, and the Stars didn't look back. And James Moss with a fine performance. He was Billingham Stars man of the match. Magnificent on both ends of the ice, covering every little bit of ice that he could, getting his rewards with the Stars' 5th goal. So yeah, just quickly run through those scores again from the weekend. On Saturday at Ice Sheffield, we have the Sheffield Submitters 2, the Whitley Warriors 10. Into Sunday, we have the Deeside Dragons 2, the Billingham Stars 5. Oh, no, sorry, I've missed a game off. We won't go into these. We'll talk about the game in Nottingham. It's because it's a late face-off, I keep forgetting about this one. But there was another close game, closer than probably a lot of people expected. But what I do say is Blackburn hate going to Nottingham. They hate playing Nottingham. They hate each other, but they hate going to Nottingham. And this was a very close game. I think Lions going 1-0 up. Hawks get into 3-1, and you probably think, yeah, that's it now. They'll probably pull away. Mr. Zachary Yokiyama, who isn't on everybody's Christmas card list. Talented player, talented player. Just a bit of a prick on the ice. Unfortunately, had dealings with him off the ice with his behaviour towards the crowd. Although I did find it hilarious when he blew my missus a kiss. She deserved it. Anyway, don't say I told her that. Although she doesn't edit this, she'll probably cut it out. Anyway, Mr. Yokiyama firing 2 goals, getting the Lions back into it at 3-3. Hawks take the lead with not long left in the third period, and then the Nottingham Lions are gifted a huge power play with about 2.5 minutes left in the game, and they just couldn't convert. The Hawks hold out and take a 4-3 victory. They were a little bit of a run themselves in all competitions. I think they've probably won 3 or 4 in a row. I've got to say all competitions, because they do play in that pointless Scottish Cup and that pointless M56 Cup. And the reason I call them pointless, I understand that clubs need more revenue, so they need more fixtures, so they can get more gates. But I just personally think if this Blackburn Hawks team didn't have those extra, let me try and work out quickly, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, is it 12 games? Those extra 12 games, those legs are a lot fresher. They maybe don't get 1 or 2 of the injuries that they get, and they're probably competing for the league title. I think they're up there ahead of the Solihull Barons, if I'm being honest. They're the only team to give Stars a game this year in the league, like a real tight, close game. In Blackburn, I believe it was 2-1. Yes, granted, Stars were missing 1 or 2 players, but it doesn't matter. They took the game to the Stars and took it very, very, very close. So that's the only reason why I call these cup competitions pointless. Yet, granted, I know they're going to Hawks have the chance of winning that M56 Cup this weekend, and probably on paper, probably shouldn't have. Like I say, D-side are probably one of my biggest disappointments this year with that roster that they've got, what they've assembled. Probably should have been doing a lot better. As we get to league table, I could probably show you this. Obviously, I didn't have the Barons up there only because I was just a bit unsure on their roster this year. Obviously, they lost a lot of players. They only had the top line and still pretty much got everything to thank for that top line. It's the only reason why they are where they are. But like I say, Blackburn have puffed the shoulders out this year and stepped up. But I just think those two cup competitions they probably could have done without. Obviously, they had all the bollocks that happened in D-side. Off the ice, probably didn't deserve that, which can obviously alter momentum. It can just things like that have funny ways of affecting players. But yeah, a 4-3 victory over the Nottingham Lions for the Hawks. Probably a big victory for the Blackburn Hawks in trying to catch the Barons, which we'll get into when we look at the league table to see if that is still doable. So we'll again run through the fixtures and results from the weekend. So Saturday the 10th of February, we had the Sheffield Scimitars lose out 10-2 at home against the Whitley Warriors. The D-side Dragons at home to the Billingham Stars lose out 5-2. As we've just spoke about, Nottingham Lions 3 at home to the Hawks, who score 4-3 winners for the Hawks. Solihull Barons get a big win over the Whitley Warriors at Hobbs Moat Road, 4-1. And the Sheffield Scimitars take the Widnes Wild at Planet Ice Widnes to overtime, but lose out 7-6. So that brings us to this weekend, and what do we have in store for you this weekend? Like I've been banging on for the past couple of weeks now, this is the exciting time of the season. This is where teams are jostling for position. Like I say, the Warriors have definitely got an eye on the playoffs now. Blackburn Hawks will certainly have an eye on the playoffs. They could potentially win. They're certainly good enough to win the cup and the playoffs. What a double that would be for them. But obviously you'll also have other teams thinking we can do something in the playoffs. D-side Dragons underperformed all season long. They could turn it on in the playoffs, turn up at Sheffield, bang, take the trophy. You just need 2 wins as long as you get past your quarter final. So where does the fixtures take us this weekend? Well, we have some absolute bangers, especially on Sunday. Sunday is one of the best lineups I have seen this season, and every one of them will be a doozy, just about. So if you are near a rink this Sunday in our division, get yourself along to an NIHL 1 North game, because you will not be disappointed this weekend. First of all though, Saturday we have Saturday the 17th of February. The Hull Jets return to action this weekend on home ice against the Solihull Barons. The Barons are one of the only teams to beat Hull in Hull, so Hull will certainly be looking for revenge this coming Saturday after their week of rest. And obviously the Barons will see this as a big weekend where they could put some pressure potentially on the Billingham Stars. The only other game on Saturday is the Sheffield Scimitars at home to D-side Dragons, who will want to turn that decent performance in from Sunday against the Stars into a victory. And then on to a banging Sunday. Yes, you heard that, a banging Sunday. So first of all, we have the Widnes Wild versus the Nottingham Lions. That'll be certainly a very interesting game. You'll have a very confident Nottingham Lions after losing out just to the Blackburn Hawks. And obviously the Widnes Wild getting taken to overtime. The Lions will probably want to be pushing for that final playoff spot. And then where do we go? It's the D-side Dragons at home to the Hull Jets. On its own, you just think, yes, what a game that'll be. You've then got the Whitley Warriors versus the Blackburn Hawks at Hillheads. We know things happen between these two teams at the Hillheads Ice Arena. So I will be watching that game out the corner of my eye. Well, I say out the corner of my eye. On my phone, on Twitter, on Facebook, just to see what is going on there. And then you have the big one of Solihull Barons against the Billingham Stars, which I think, again, it's not the end for the Stars if they don't win. Obviously, they'll want to keep the momentum going. They'll want to keep that winning streak going. If they do win, that's it. It's all over. They're certainly not being caught by the Barons. It'll be, 8 points with a couple of games in hand still. So yeah, how was that weekend for fixtures, especially that Sunday? So Saturday, Hull versus Solihull, Sheffield versus Deeside. And then Sunday, 18th of February, like I say, what a weekend. Deeside versus Hull, Solihull versus Billingham, Whitley Bay versus the Blackburn Hawks, and the Widnes Wild versus the Nottingham Lions. What an action-packed Sunday. I wish we did highlights packages for every team in our division, because that Sunday will be fantastic. And I'm sure next week's episode is going to be full of everything really. You just know there's going to be goals, there's going to be fights, there's going to be controversy. You know there's going to be a costly refereeing decision in there somewhere, something that we don't speak about on here on the officiating side of things. They do their best they can. It's not deliberate, but you just know some controversy will be coming from one of them fixtures this weekend. And my God, what a weekend of hockey it's going to be. So like I said, if you are near one of those arenas, get yourself there on Sunday afternoon and watch a fantastic game of hockey, because you will not be disappointed with any of those four. So we'll move on into the league tables. And so to start with the Morley table, at the top of the table, still the Billingham Stars, 25 games played, 22 wins, just the 3 losses, 44 points. Second place, Solihull Barons, played a game more, 26 games, 19 wins, 7 losses, 38 points. Blackburn Hawks played a game less, 25 games, 16 wins, 9 losses, 32 points. Whitley Warriors, 26 games played, 14 wins, 11 losses, 29 points. Deeside Dragons, 5th place, 26 games played, 14 wins, 11 losses, 29 points. Division's newcomers, the Hull Jets, 6th place, 24 games played, 2 games on hand on Whitley Bay and Deeside, and the Widnes Wild below them. 24 games played, 13 wins, 10 losses, 27 points. And Hull Jets, this is Hull Jets' home record. 13 games played, 10 wins, 2 losses and an overtime loss. There's only 2 teams with a better home record than that, and that's the Billingham Stars, 11-1 at home, and the Solihull Barons, 12-1. Obviously, the Jets' away performance of 3 wins and 8 losses is what's cost them this year. So you'll be watching out for them next season. As I said earlier in the episode I should say, 7th place, Widnes Wild, 26 games played, 9 wins, 16 losses, 19 points, 8 points behind 6th, and played 2 games more. They're not catching the Hull Jets. Behind them by 7 points on the same games played, Nottingham Lions, 26 games played, 4 wins, 18 losses. And 12 points, they aren't catching the Widnes Wild. So it's looking like the Wild have got that 7th place sewn up. At the bottom, still not out of the playoffs yet. The Sheffield Scimitars in 9th, 26 games played, 4 wins, 19 losses for 11 points. So what does that mean for the playoffs if they started right now? Well, you'd have the Billingham Stars versus the Nottingham Lions. I think we could safely say a foregone conclusion. And then the other 3 fixtures are tough fixtures as they stand. The Solihull Barons against the Widnes Wild. Yes, you cannot take this Widnes Wild lightly anymore. They're ever improving week by week. Joe Coulter has got some magic going there. The Blackburn Hawks would play the Hull Jets, which would be a fantastic round of playoff games. And the Whitley Warriors and the Deeside Dragons would play each other in the 4th matchup. Again, another fantastic round that would be. So that is it for NIHL North 1. I was going to go through the point scorers, but I've had a quick look and it hasn't been updated yet. Yes, Matthew, I am talking about you. So let's move into the ladler. So what happened last weekend? Saturday the 10th of February. The Altrincham Aces take Bradford Bulldog to overtime and come out shootout winners, 8-7. NIHL Blaze overcome the Kingston Sharks 5-1. Sheffield Titans pushing for that home leg advantage in the playoffs, lose out to champions-elect Telford Tigers 6-2. And then moving into Sunday, we have one of the new teams of this year, the Billingham Buccaneers, also pushing for that home advantage by coming in the top 4 in their first year. Would be an extraordinary effort by those guys, beating the Altrincham Aces 7-0, a Sam Dowd hat-trick, and I believe that's back-to-back hat-tricks for Sam Dowd as well, so fair play to the young lad. Certainly one to watch out for the Stars in the future. hopefully. Kingston Sharks, the other league's new boys, rack up a 10-4 victory over the Lions 2. Sutton Sting trying to chase down Tigers 2, beat the Titans 6-3. And as I said earlier, champions-elect Telford Tigers, I should call them the OAPs, the league OAPs, beat the NIHL Blaze 6-0. So what does that look like in the Ladler table? So as I said, you have got champions-elect Telford Tigers, who played 25 games for 48 points. That's 24 wins and 1 loss for the league's OAPs. In second place, you've got Sutton Sting, also played 25. They're on 43 points, 5 points behind Tigers. The Coventry Blaze are in third with 26 games played, 37 points. League New Boys Billingham Buccaneers, 26 games played, 28 points. So 9 points behind third, so probably not catching the Blaze. Sheffield Titans in fifth, 26 games played with 26 points. Due to believe they'll play each other this weekend. We'll go through their fixtures in a moment. Altrincham Aces in sixth, 25 games played, 22 points. Their game in hand is quite important. Seventh place, Bradford Bulldogs, 25 games played, 20 points. And then way back by 11 points in 8th place is the league's other new team, the Kingston Sharks, 26 games played, 9 points. And then we have the basement dwellers of the Nottingham Lions NIHL 2 side at 9th, 24 games played, 3 points, 1 win out of 24 games and an overtime loss. So I'm not quite sure why. I suppose if the Lions win their games in hand, they could potentially catch the Kingston Sharks. They're the only team not qualified for the playoffs at the moment. So Lions too do have a small chance. So if the playoffs started today in the Ladler Conference, what would we have? Well, I think it would be a foregone conclusion for 3 of the ties and then 1 beauty tie. And I think it's pretty obvious with who that would be. The Telford Tigers against the Kingston Sharks, probably see a Tigers win. Sutton Sting against the Bradford Bulldogs, again a Sting win. Coventry Blaze versus the Altrincham Aces, which again you'd only see a Blaze win. And in the fourth fixture, because it'll probably be one of these, it just depends who's going to get home advantage, the Billingham Buccaneers versus the Sheffield Titans. And again, not so much a foregone conclusion that one. I think that's a 50-50 fixture. And probably would be the tie of that playoff round. So it'd certainly be interesting to see how they would line up at playoff weekend, which again, playoff weekend has now been announced. So I should see you all in Sheffield on the weekend of the 6th and 7th of April. We're going to have the Ladler clubs, we're going to have the Morley clubs. It's going to be a fantastic weekend of hockey. It's going to be 4 games on the Saturday, the 4 semi-finals on the Saturday. It'll be Ladler, Morley, no doubt. And then it'll be the final 2 games on the Sunday. So let's have a little look at what fixtures are there you can visit this weekend in the Ladler. So Saturday the 17th of February, the Billingham Buccaneers are at home to the Bradford Bulldogs. The Sheffield Titans at home to the Altrincham Aces. Big fixture, big fixture that one, in terms of that 4th spot. Tigers 2 take on the Lions, NIHL 2 Lions. That'll be a cricket score. And then moving into Sunday, we have the Bradford Bulldogs against the Kingston Sharks, the Coventry Blaze against the Sheffield Titans, and the Nottingham Lions 2 at home to the Billingham Buccaneers. Let's see if they stay on the ice for the whole of the game this time. And it's the top of the table clash. If the Sting have any chance of chasing down this OAP Tigers team, the Sting must win this game, and they face off at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so a bit of an early travel for the Telford Tigers. So a little chance for a little bit of one-upmanship there from the Sting. Can they make that early face-off count? So yeah, you've got some good games to go at in the Ladler. No major news. The Blackburn Hawks have a chance of winning the M56 Cup this coming weekend. Make of that what you will. I suppose a trophy's a trophy. I wonder if they'll over-celebrate like the Warriors did, but like I say, it is a trophy at the end of the day. The Stars, I believe, are 2 wins away from the league title. Playoff weekend, I've already covered that. The price is not out yet for Sheffield. Be interesting to see when they come out. I'll see if I can find that information out, if not released publicly, by the time I sit down and chat with you again. So yeah, that's just about covered it. Covers everything for last weekend, this coming weekend. Nothing from DOPS to write home about. You got a fantastic weekend of hockey in NIHL North 1 at the Memorial Conference. There's some great games there. Should give us some good things to talk about next week. So yeah, that leads me to it, just to say again, thank you all for listening. Thank you for your comments. Do get in touch. Please like and share the podcast no matter what platform you listen to. If you listen on Apple, please rate 5 stars. Same with Spotify, Amazon, Google. Like and share the page on Twitter, on Facebook. Tell your friends to have a listen, see what they think. Like I say, this is just me doing a bit of a hobby, talking about hockey, talking about the league, talking about everything, just talking about the sport I love, and just about the league and the teams that I know about in our division. Trying to give our division a bit of exposure. No one really out there giving us what the other leagues get. If 4,000 Count do a great job of trying to cover hockey in general, but obviously mainly elite and national. Nicky Waters obviously got a lot of experience at that level and a lot of contacts at that level, so does a great job of getting the interviews from the level of hockey that he knows, and doing a great job of getting the 4,000 Counting out there. Again, you have Anthony at Banners on the Wall. He does his live show on a Wednesday night. I try and let us listen as much as I can, because you do get to learn about other divisions. So if you can tune in to Anthony at Banners on the Wall, do. It's very insightful. It's a good place to have a little chat. You can do the live chat because he does it live on YouTube, which is quite cool. But again, obviously, his bread and butter is the National League. Big Bison fan, I think he is. Obviously, the Bison not around this season. Fingers will cross, touch wood, that it's not too long before we see them back on the ice. But yeah, Anthony covers that division. And then I've seen a couple of all the other pods, obviously covering the South divisions. So I thought, why not try and do it for the North? Yeah, so just me talking hockey, and it's great that you guys come in and listen, and the feedback that I'm getting, a lot of you do enjoy it. Obviously got a few areas that I can improve on, whether that's the quality, stuff that I could talk about, whether I should be more controversial or not. For those who know me, kind of know that I can be a pain in the arse and be quite controversial. But yeah, get in touch, like and share the pages, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I am going to try and improve the YouTube channel with some video content, so please bear with me on that. But yeah, the email address again, I said at the top of the show, I'll say it now, sticktothepod@gmail.com. Get in touch with your ideas, your feedback, ways I can improve. So yeah, the floor's open. But just a big thank you to you guys for listening. And I'll speak to you again next week. Bye for now.